To understand properly intensification method, you have to understand how the body recruits muscle fibers and use them to produce strength. Now, normally, once you reach a level that is about 85% of your strength potential at that moment, you will have full fiber recruitment, or as full as you can based on how many fibers you can recruit yourself. Now, that also means that you can, well, it means you can use 80-85% on the barbell. If I'm using 80-85% on the barbell, right from the first rep, I should be recruiting as many fibers as I possibly can. Or it could also mean that I will create some fatigue so that I'm never 100%. If my strength potential is lower because I'm fatigued, then I can use a lower weight on the barbell and still have full fiber recruitment. For example, if I have a fatigue level of 10%, so I'm 10% weaker than normal, then I can use 70% on the barbell and will have full fiber recruitment, because compared to my potential, it is still that 80-85% range. So that is the principle behind Emoms, every minute on the minute. Basically, every time a new minute starts, you start your set and you have to complete the number of repetitions prescribed within that minute. So if it only takes you 10 seconds to complete the reps, then you have 50 seconds of rest before the next set's up. If it takes you 30 seconds, then you only have 30 seconds of rest. So that is the principle behind Emom. Now, the reason why it works, several reasons. First of all, as I mentioned, it creates just enough fatigue that even if I'm not using maximal weights, I'm still recruiting as many fibers as I would if I were using maximum weight. Now, as the minutes progresses, what happens is that I'm building more and more fatigue. And I have to find a way to compensate to produce more force, because my potential is going lower and lower and lower. So what happens is that as the set progresses, my body will find neural strategies to be able to use more strength, to produce more strength. Now, the first strategy is it will increase the firing rate of its muscle fibers. So at first, the fibers, they can twitch at a fairly slow rate, but they're strong enough, each contraction, to produce enough force. As I'm building fatigue, they will twitch faster and faster and faster. And the faster they twitch, the more force they produce. And that is a skill. Being able to fire those fibers fast is a motor skill. It's not enough to recruit them. If you can make them fire fast, you'll be much stronger. So that's why doing strength work in a slightly fatigued state will help you gain maximum strength, even if it's not maximum weight. Now, the second reason is that, your body hates you, but it really likes you. I mean, it will always look to protect itself. Now, if it feels, for example, that the prime movers, let's say I'm doing a bench press, and it feels that my chest, shoulder, triceps are overpowering compared to the weaker rotator cuff, back muscle rhomboids, it will not allow you to use maximum force in those prime movers, because it will protect yourself against an imbalance. Now, as my prime movers become more and more fatigued, my body will allow me to use more of my potential strength, because now it doesn't feel threatened. The imbalance is decreased. So that's the second reason why in Emoms, you will actually oftentimes have an increase in performance by minute number 6 or 7. Because now the fatigue takes away the protective mechanisms, and so you can produce more strength. The last reason why it really is effective is it gets rid of paralysis by analysis. It's especially true in movements like the power clean, which Karim is going to demonstrate, which are fairly technical. When a movement is technical, you tend to think too much about what you have to do. So if you have enough time between sets, you think too much and you make too much correction, and you create paralysis by analysis. With Emoms, you have very short rest interval. Not only that, it creates a different mindset. I have to go now. Only have 20 seconds. You're looking at that clock instead of thinking, what am I doing wrong? What should I do differently? So it takes away the overthinking part. I always say that the best athletes are the dumbest athletes because they don't overcomplicate things. They just execute. Well, Emoms teach you to just execute. So Kareem is going to do just 3 reps, Emom, for just 2 sets in power cleans. You would rest of it. That took him about 30 seconds. He would have 30 seconds between next set. Now, he's catching his breath. He's just setting up properly. Then before he knows, well, that's about 20 seconds. You have 10 seconds to set up. So start your setup. 3 reps. Excellent. Now, Emoms are really effective to make technique automatic. Of course, it's more effective if someone already has good technique. If somebody already has good technique, then he's less likely to have breakdowns. But once you know what to do, Emoms will automatize it, will take away the thinking process, and you will learn to rely on feeling the movement instead of thinking about the movement. So that's a great way to train. Now, the parameters I recommend for Emoms. The 2 best zones for Emom personally, I think, are these 2 zones here. When the goal is building strength. So it's either 75 to 85% zone for sets of 3 reps for about 8 to 10 minutes Emom. Or between 85 and 90 for 2 reps, 6 to 10 minute Emoms. These are the 2 best zones to train for strength. By the last third of the duration of the Emom, it will actually feel like a maximum effort. So you are training a maximum lift without having to use a weight that is stressful on your joints and tendons. And the reason why I like these 2 zones for strength is that right from the first rep, you're recruiting full fiber, the maximum number of fibers. So all of your sets are spent learning how to fire those fibers fast, which is a true key to strength. Now, Emoms with lighter weights work great for getting leaner, working on resistance, and could even be good for hypertrophy. So they could be good for someone who needs, for example, to transition from I'm super strong, but I have no endurance, and I need to be able to maintain a high level of effort. So that would be the best solution, a lower percentage, longer duration, and shorter rest intervals. That last zone here should be done very infrequently because it's really demanding on the nervous system for no more than 1 or 2 weeks, just to peak your capacity to maintain maximum strength over a fairly long period of time. Mostly useful for football players, for example, who only have 30, 40 seconds between plays and need to be able to maintain maximum strength for 10 to 15 plays in a drive. So that's why Emoms are one of my favorite training methods when it comes to building strength.